Oh, blast! I see no pattern whatsoever. What in Tyson's name is behind this?
Target normalization confirmed. Transferring data now, Professor White.
Just a moment. Sonda, has Call been functioning normally this entire time?
Well, she was shut down for a firmware update when everything went all screwy. It seems like any bots that were powered off at the moment this all started are fine.
Shut down, you say? Wait. No, it couldn't be. Or could it be?
You got a theory, Will? Does it also explain why Beck wasn't affected?
You rang, Dr. Sonda? Where am I off to next?
Oh, Beck. Yes, just a moment. Let's continue this later, Will, and no trailing off into a next time.
Aloha, everybody, and welcome to part 3 of Mighty Number 9. In the last few parts, we took out 3 robot masters, mighty numbers. And in this part, we're going after mighty number 4, Seismic.
We have lost contact with mighty number 4, Seismic. This mine was his last known location.
Battalion Big 2, over. Can you read me? Over. What in the happened in this? Oh.
Did he just say, what in the hell happened in this shithole? You can put a static filter all you want. I still heard shithole, concept. This is a game for children. Jesus Christ. Either way, here's the 3 powers I've gotten so far. Pyro, Cryos, and Battalions. Battalions is shooting a horizontal bomb that will go all the way to a wall. If it reaches a wall, it will stick into it, and if you push the button again, it will detonate it. So you can detonate it on a wall, you can detonate it while it's going in midair, and it is one of the best weapons in the game because of its gigantic explosive radius, and the fact that it eliminates enemy defenses and puts them into their Zell state so easily. And it's really easy to get weapon energy in Mighty Number 9 because every time you dash into an enemy, there's a percentage that shows up. And if you're really quick, it says 100%. If you're slightly slower, it'll be 80, 70%, whatever. But that is like you getting back weapon energy every time you dash into someone. You're absorbing the Zell so that you can use it for your weapons later, right? And because this has such a gigantic radius, this explosion, and because it destroys enemy defenses and damages them so badly, you just keep using it and using it and using it if you decide to use it for the rest of the game. So, one of the best, most OP weapons, definitely. Ugh! That text box hid that fucking insta-kill right there. Oh my god. That part was kind of tense, because if I went on the platform, it's raising to the ceiling, and if you're standing on it when it raises to the ceiling, it crushes you and kills you in one hit. But if you drop down, not going for the platform, you go into the pink stuff. Because, you know, too much pink energy is dangerous for Beck. So you go into the pink electricity spikes, and then you die. And this is a level that is just notorious for making you drop down into pink electricity all the freaking time. So, like, you really have to pay attention, take very tiny steps, maybe wait for the dialogue to finish so that the subtitles aren't blocking your view. Oh my god. You can turn off voice acting and subtitles in the game. There is options for that, but I can't remember how it doesn't work. I remember you can, like, turn voice volume off and the subtitles will still be there, or, like, you can turn subtitles... I forget what it was, but I remember there was a weird thing where, like, I had the voices were off, but the subtitles were still showing up, you know? And it bugged the hell out of me. So I think you had to do voice volume or something, but, yeah, all these drills with the pink electricity, they will kill you in one hit, so watch the hell out. Battalion helped me with one of the drills, but he didn't help with the other 3 drills, so thanks, Battalion. Glad I helped you earlier. Okay, if you don't have Battalion's weapon, you need the red power-up from Sniper Joe, or whatever the fuck his name is. I was waiting to make that joke for so long after I played this. But you need the red power-up because it shoots through walls and it destroys the blocks that you need to get rid of. If you don't have Battalion's weapon, you can't destroy the rock blocks that are all over the place, and so you need the red weapon from Sniper Joe in order to pass through the walls and open up pathways for you. And while this is happening, a giant drill is chasing me, and there are pink electricity spikes all over the place, ready to kill you in one shot. So this level can be pretty tense, pretty dangerous, and I remember I had a lot of retries here my first time playing. It's, I wouldn't say it's the worst design thing ever, but I do think some of the insta-kill stuff is just kind of annoying, you know. If Battalion wasn't here to take out this drill right now, you would have to climb the block and climb to where I was on the wall in order to just have the drill pass under you. So again, helping out the mighty numbers and going in the correct weakness order, they can help you out with certain obstacles, but it's not always like the biggest deal ever. Sometimes they don't actually do anything at all, like in Avi's stage, but anywho, boss time.
Mick! And still operational! Just as the professor predicted! You too? Then I'm sorry, Mick. But I've got to take you down.
Totally not Gutsman. I don't know why you would think this character is Gutsman. There's nothing Gutsman about this boss at all. Anyway, he's weak to Battalion's weapon. He likes to do a whole bunch of charges, which you can easily jump and dash over. He will ground pound and cause blocks to fall from the ceiling. You have to just pay attention to the dust trails from the ceiling to know where to stand. And he has these drill moves that home in on where you are. Like his extended arm drills will home in exactly where you are, and you need to use the green ledges in order to get above the ground so that you don't jump into them. And you can dash across the entire screen in order to dodge the second drill like I do. But at the halfway point, he makes the area a little bit smaller, but just because the area is smaller doesn't mean he's harder to fight. He pretty much does the exact same tactics he's been doing, and he's still pretty easy.
Beck? Why Beck come? It's dangerous here.
Mission clear.
Thanks, not Gutsman. I'm sure Gregory Graham from Cherry Dine Industries doesn't think you're the bestest mighty number ever, or whatever. Actually, I don't even know if Graham is aware of this guy. I don't even know if Graham is aware of Seismic, because again, Graham's not really a world domination villain, and it's not how you think it is, but either way. Next boss!
We have reports of automated vehicle malfunctions on the highway. Mighty number 7, Brandish, spotted.
Yeah, it's Mick. I got eyes on Brand, but getting through these nutso cars ain't easy. This could turn into a 50-car pileup any minute. Hate to ask, but I could use some help.
Alright, so now we're going after Brand. Tell me what he reminds you of when you see him from the Mega Man series.
Brand!
I'm warning you, Beck. Stay away!
Brand, wait! I'm going after him, Professor.
Affirmative, Beck. Just be sure to mind your step traversing those vehicles. Something about Mighty Number 7's voice. Could he be?
Yes, Dr. White, he is Zero. He is just straight up Zero from Mega Man. He's got the yellow scarf / ponytail. He's a melee sword character draped in red. I mean, it's kind of Proto Man Zero, but seriously, he's a sword wielder, and his weapon is also one of the best weapons of the game, along with Battalion. But this level has an interesting gimmick. At least it's not just set in a factory, some kind of industrial facility like all the other levels have been. But we're on the highway, and we have to hop from car to car to get to the end, sort of like that Blue Falcon stage from Super Smash Bros. Melee. And if you touch the road at all, instant kill. Like, that is instant death. Don't want to touch the road at all. But sometimes there are things in the sky that will give you knockback when you're jumping around, so be extra careful. Remember that Beck can dash infinitely, so if you see a car start to move ahead because it's speeding up or whatever, just keep dashing and hopefully you will be able to reach it. But, yeah, there's a lot of background cameos because Kickstarter backers, they got to have their art in the game and stuff. One from Ego Raptors in one of the billboards, you know, Game Grumps fame and all that jazz. And, yeah, not much to say. You're just hopping between cars, getting to where you need to get. One thing I should talk about with Mighty Number 9 that kind of sucks about the powers. So I showed off earlier that you can cycle through the powers, and you select them from like this little menu, and you can't do it from the pause menu, at least not in the PlayStation 4 version. I haven't played the Wii U. I don't know if the Wii U version has like a gamepad touchscreen kind of thing going on. I haven't played this game on Steam. But I can definitely say the PlayStation 4 version, you can't just select powers by pausing the game and selecting them from the menu, which has been a thing in Mega Man since 1987. And I think it's worth mentioning because the final boss... I think the final boss in Mighty No. 9 is pretty challenging, and I like to use different weapons for different situations with that particular boss. And there are shortcut keys you can activate to map things to whatever you want. Like, there are 3 shortcuts you can have for the left analog stick, the right analog stick, as well as the circle button. So you can map 3 specific weapons to those keys. But, when you don't have anything mapped and you're just trying to cycle through powers, you can't just pause the action, right? You have to cycle with L1, R1, and then you have to select the power. Unlike the classic Mega Man series where it was just automatic, you actually have to select the power so that Beck will transform into that thing with triangle. And the reason that doesn't work is because you can't stop the action to collect your bearings. You can't just immediately go to the power that you want. You have to cycle through a menu that opens up on screen while you're jumping and dodging enemy attacks. And some people might say, well, that adds to the challenge, that adds to the intensity. And maybe, but, you know, since 1987, since Mega Man 1, it was always a thing that you could pause the action to get the menu. I remember in Mega Man Powered Up, the PSP game that came out in 2006, the final boss was Dr. Wily. And Dr. Wily had a shifting weakness. Like, he would always adapt his powers to all the different robot masters. Like, he would be Oil Man, and then you'd have to switch to Fireman's ability to weaken him. And then he'd turn into Iceman and whatever. And I found fighting Dr. Wily by cycling with the L and R buttons to go through powers made that so hard because I was multitasking too much and I couldn't focus, and I just ended up getting killed by his attacks way too often. There was no energy tanks in Powered Up. Just as this game has a very limited energy tank system as well. And Powered Up at least let you pause the action during the Wily fight so that you could select them from the menu, and that made the fight so much easier. I don't understand why this game is trying to be Mega Man so much, and yet it still can't even get the good concept of, like, switching out powers in the main menu. Like, you can't just, like, pause the action to switch powers, at least not in the PlayStation 4 version. If this is in the other versions, then I apologize, this is outdated information. Maybe those other versions are way better, but the PlayStation 4 version, I'm not allowed to, and that sucks.
My blade's hunger! Why, Beck? Why won't you give up?
I'm here to help. I've come to save you, Brand.
No closer! One more step, and my blades will have their way with you!
Brand, tell me what's happening.
I can't control myself. If you want to save me, you must destroy me.
So Brandish is a complete joke when you have Seismic's ability. Seismic's ability is to turn into a little bulldozer thing, and you just sort of like go forward and charge. I can't remember if you can jump while using this ability. I don't use it at all. It's like the Top Man ability for me, where I'm just running into enemies, and they're always getting like their little pot shots in on me, and I just found it pretty useless and situational. But with this boss fight, you gotta remember to dash into him when he turns purple, because that was something I didn't think to do at the start of this boss fight. But as soon as, you know, the fight starts, I just keep running into him, running into him, running into him. I can generally block all of his attacks, except this one at the halfway point where, again, wherever the lines are, just dodge and jump out of the way. But otherwise, I just keep dashing into him when he turns purple. And I dashed into him too early, that's why I took contact damage right there. But you gotta pay attention to when his body is purple. The health bar itself will also start flashing if his body's turned purple. So that's another good way to tell if you can dash into them. But sometimes in Mighty No. 9, it can be hard to tell, you know?
Beck, I thank you.
Mission clear!
That's the tricky part about designing a game where you have to dash into enemies in order to weaken them, and, like, you still get contact damage, you know? You have to illustrate very clearly that the character is like a different color or that his health bar is flashing so that the players get the point across that now is the time to dash into them. But, you know, sometimes I screw that up and I'll dash into enemies too early, and it's just one of the quirks about this game that, I don't care for. Brandish's weapon is one of the best in the game. It wastes no weapon energy if you know how to use it. And, we'll see more of that in Part 4. Till then.